Hello everybody, happy Monday to you all. Welcome back to my channel if you are a returning viewer, and welcome to my channel if you are a new subscriber. So today is Monday and today I'm going to do just a short little video on my mental health update. So 5 years ago I felt ready and able to release a video telling my story of how the death of my daughter affected me and how that affected my mental health. And I was meant to do a follow-up from that video and it never happened because a lot of different things. Life got in the way. My mental health took quite some time to improve. I got ill again. On top of that, I took a total break from YouTube because I started experiencing some really negative comments and negative feedback from my videos, which sort of hit me hard. It knocked my confidence, and yeah, so I took a break and it has now been 5 years and I'm only just feeling confident enough to come back on and chat to everybody. So I'm just going to put in now a little clip here of the video I did 5 years ago. Leave the house. I literally had trouble even getting out of bed and communicating with anybody, even my close family. Her death knocked me. The first 2 weeks were fine, leading up to the funeral, because I had her, I could cuddle her, I could hold her, I could see her. Once that funeral was over with and she was gone, her body was gone, there was nothing left of her, it became, I think, normal grief just rolled into something else because things began to stem out. Yeah, so as you can see, I wasn't that confident on camera back then anyway. I'll provide the link in the description down below, and for anyone who wants to go back and watch the old video, bear in mind it's 5 years ago and I was new to YouTube, so the quality of that video is pretty rubbish. But yeah, so that was 5 years ago, and this is me now. I am doing amazing. I am way ahead when it comes to mental health. It's been a long time since my mental health was poor. Obviously I am going to have bad days, and I do get bad days. But in general, 5 years have gone past, and in them 5 years I have had to trial and error lots of different medication, have had to have constant multiple assessments, and it's come down to we are now aware of what happened to me, we're aware of what I have and why it happened, and the right medication has now been found, and that medication has been working really well for me for years and years. So what was my diagnosis in the end? So originally it was depression mixed with grief due to the loss of my daughter. That's Lily Rose. But that turned out to be a misdiagnosis and an assumption due to my mental health turning so bad around the time of Lily's death. After a lot of assessments, they actually realised that I have bipolar. And one of the biggest mistakes with bipolar is to misdiagnose depression and to put you on antidepressants. Antidepressants for somebody with bipolar can be lethal and can be dangerous, and that is obvious in my case because the antidepressants that they put me on had the completely opposite effect, and instead of making me better, they made me worse, and I went into what's called postpartum psychosis, which is a common thing to happen to someone who has bipolar disorder after the birth of a child, and that was the downfall for my mental health seriously deteriorating. Obviously I've had the assessment. I don't mind having bipolar, it doesn't bother me, it's in my family, so I aren't that surprised by it, to be honest. It doesn't, I mean, yeah, there was a time when it was pretty bad, you know, getting used to the new medication and stuff like that. There were times when it was bad, and looking back now, I can totally see why I had impulse issues with spending, starting jobs and never finishing jobs. Just silly things like that. They don't really bother me at all. But yeah, so that was the overall diagnosis, was the postpartum psychosis due to bipolar disorder. And since then, I have had a lot of therapy. Some of it I found helped, some of it I didn't. I have one particular therapist who was absolutely hellbound on making me talk about the death of my daughter, the things that surrounded that day. Eventually I quit that therapist because I just found that as much as I understood the process of trying to get my brain to process what happened, it wasn't helping. In fact, it was making me worse. I just felt like I was completely reliving the grief. It just wasn't the right fit for me. I then moved on to a new therapist. That one turned out to be amazing. She focused more on my childhood, my relationships as I've moved into adulthood, the fact that I've been surrounded all my life by domestic abuse. Things went on between my parents that I was subject to. Moving into adulthood, I was really badly bullied in college. I then fell into a very abusive relationship at a young age, and got trapped in that relationship for a long time. And after that relationship, I ended up being trapped with another mildly abusive relationship, which by that point I was strong enough to say that this wasn't right and walked away from that. That hasn't really had that much of an effect on me, that one. And now, 5 years later, in my own home, in my own town area, with brilliant support around me, I am finally in a really, really good, happy, positive relationship. Yeah, things have been really good recently. Things have been amazing, and I think my story, I often feel, is one of those stories that if you are like me and you hit complete rock bottom, there is a way back up, and it is not hopeless. Your life isn't hopeless, and you aren't hopeless. And it's took me a long time to realise that I aren't useless. My existence isn't completely hopeless. I have a much better relationship with my family and my parents, my friends. I now have a really, really amazing relationship with my partner, and he is so supportive of me and anything that I want to do. And I'm the same with him. He does what he wants, and I'll always have his back. But it wasn't an easy journey to go on. You know, there was a time when, shortly after leaving my marriage, my abusive relationship, I was really, really ill. I did need a lot of care and a lot of help, and that came in the form of emergency services such as crisis teams and things like that. I was so ill, I was on what's known as suicide watch. I was also on it in the hospital, but I was on it out of the hospital and in my own home as well. So that involved 2 members of the psychiatric team having to come and do a home visit every single day for a couple of weeks until they could see that the medicine had started working and that the risks to myself and others had minimised. I mean, I've never been a risk to others, I'm just a risk to myself when I was that ill. I did silly things, like too much drinking, overdosing on medication, and just generally I needed someone to keep an eye on me at the time because my head wasn't in the right place. And at the time I hated it. I hated that I was causing all of this trouble. I was putting all of these different people out. I was taking up space on services that I thought could have been better used for other people. But that was 3 years ago, and in the last 3 years, I can look back now and say that I am truly, truly grateful that I was given that support, and without the crisis team and the suicide watch, I genuinely don't think I'd be here to tell the story right now, because I really was ill. But yeah, I mean, some people get like that, some people get ill, some people are lucky and they never have things to worry about. But 5 years on and 3 years on from being on crisis watch, things are amazing. I mean, I very rarely have bad days. Bad days for me, something normally has to have triggered it, like, something to do with my son, something to do with my daughters, those kind of things. And they are very, very mild in terms of how bad it really is versus how bad it used to be. I mean, I'll just be a little sad or a little quiet. Yeah, so 5 whole years on from this journey, and I am able to finally sit here and say I made it through the storm. And that is a term I got from my mum, who, God bless her, has been by my side every step of the way. And I can't imagine how horrible that must have been, and still probably is, for my mum, who's had to watch me go from that to who I am now, which she's constantly telling me how proud she is, the progress I've made, But yeah, 5 years on down the line, and I probably would say I'm a walking cliche. I've gone from rock bottom to cloud nine. I enjoy just dithering around. I enjoy doing my little jobs. I enjoy doing the housework. I have an amazing partner who I enjoy spending my time with. I enjoy being in his company. I worry about my kids. My partner has children, which makes me a stepmom, which is weird, but really cool. Can't wait to dive into that a bit more. And yeah, I mean, me and my partner, we've moved in together. We do everything together, really. He actually does have his own YouTube channel, which gave me the confidence to get back out here and try my YouTube channel. Yeah, so today I just thought I would do a sit-down video and finally, 5 years later, do the mental health review. And I'll probably do these every so often because just like any problem, people can go backwards. I hope I'm not one of them people. I hope I just continue to grow and continue to, I guess the term that I could use is just finding me. I've spent most of my life being lost and wrapped up in other people or trying to be somebody that's a person that somebody else wants me to be. And it is only in the last, say, year and a half, while being with my new partner, that I have come to realise that I am who I am, and I'm allowed to be that person, and being that person makes me who I am. The journey that I've been on to get here does not in any way define me or change how I behave in any way. I suppose it's really hard to explain. I suppose, when you have been compressed and not felt like anybody that you recognise for most of your life, you genuinely have to realise who you are. So where I am now in terms of recovery is actually what I call the discovery phase. I am discovering who I am, what I like, what makes me tick, because for all this time I've not really known who I am. I was somebody's wife and somebody's mum, and that was all I ever felt. That was all I ever was. Obviously I'm still a mum. My son is the proudest thing I've ever done. The biggest thing I'll ever do in life, I suppose, is to bring him here, and I miss him a lot. He's 16 now and moved out, and we still talk, but it's weird, and because he's not here, I am not 24/7 running around looking after him. I'm not washing school uniforms, I'm not giving out pocket money, I'm not disciplining, rude, cheeky behaviour. I am just finding out who I am as an individual, not as a mum. I suppose I've kind of done things backwards. I suppose a lot of people figure that out. They figure out who they are and what they like, and then they settle down and have family and kids. I like to make life difficult. I had a child very young, and I don't regret it. He's the best thing on earth. I'm biased, I'm his mum, but I will never regret the order in which I have done things. But now that being a mum is not the 24/7 job that it was when he was younger, I now get to discover who I am. So I get to work out, the things that I want to do and on my time. And one of my biggest goals now that I am better and recovered and going through this discovery phase is I want to travel more. Obviously I travelled a lot with my son, but that was more family friendly places. I'd like to go travelling for me. So just daft places. I'd love to go to Edinburgh. I'd love to go to Glasgow. I'd really like to see a lot of Europe, Switzerland. I wouldn't mind going back to Amsterdam. So there's a lot of things that I can still do. And on top of all of that, I've now turned all the negativity that I faced into a huge positive, and this YouTube channel is back up and running, and it's here in the hopes that people find comfort in the story, find useful information, just find someone to connect to. If you don't, that's fine. And the other thing is, I have now set up my own support group. Believe it or not, it's not for mums and it's not for women. It's for parents, mainly for fathers. I have been through the system as a child and an adult and a parent, and now as a step parent, and the system is so broken that I am turning my experience of the last 8 years of non-stop working with the system into a positive venture to help other people, and it's doing really well, and I'm actually really, really proud of it. Again, I wouldn't have done this if it wasn't for my partner. He encouraged me to get out there and do it. I was doing it for a while, like without a support page, just offering help to people who ask for it. So now it's become an official thing, and that page also has a YouTube channel as well. So if you follow that page as well, you'll notice that that page, that's none of my personal stuff. That is all court related. social worker related, anything to do with the system and professionals, you will find over on that channel. So yeah, I think this has been a long enough catch-up video. So I will leave you all until next week. Again, thank you so much to all the new people that have subscribed to the channel. And I will probably do a mental health update now at least once a month. That's going to be my goal. I know it's been 5 years and I'll never let it be like that again. But all in all, the 5 years have been amazing. They have literally been a long struggle, but amazing. The recovery that I have gone through is fantastic. And honestly, if anyone out there is suffering with mental health, don't suffer alone. Talk to someone, anybody. There are charities available. There are online groups available. By all means, contact me, comment on the videos, private message me. I'm willing to support anyone going through a bad time. So yeah, 5 years later, and I feel better, I look better. All in all, life is just on an up and up. So I hope this video has helped somebody realise that you can rise out of the ashes, you can pass through the storm, and yeah, just thanks for watching, and we will see you all next week with another video, so stay tuned for that one. And again, thank you for watching. Please comment on the videos, like the videos, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and whatever you do, don't forget to hit the notification bell. That will notify you every week when the new video goes live. So hope you all have a fantastic week, and I will chat with everybody again on Monday. Bye guys.